Welcome back to the David Pakman Show. My name is Brittany Page from the Page Perspective right here on YouTube. And I am back as your guest host for today while David is out. Shout out to David for allowing me back, and shout out to you all. David has one of the best audiences in the game. We've had several recent examples of blatant self-dealing since Trump took office. Most recently, the crypto grift dinner where people the White House refuses to name, attended a dinner with Donald Trump. In order to gain entry into this dinner, they had to hold the most in the Trump meme coin. The top 220 holders during a certain time period were selected, with the top 25 given even more special access. I've seen some reporting, including this from CNBC, that attendees spent a combined $148 million to be there. And then, of course, we also saw that Trump accepted this $400 million luxury jet. New reporting shows that it could cost $1 billion to turn this jet into the new Air Force One. Republicans tell us we can't afford to pay for Medicaid and SNAP. We can't afford to feed hungry children. But we can shell out $1 billion to ensure Donald Trump flies through the night in style and doesn't have to feel bad when he feels sad about the appearance of the current Air Force One when it's parked next to other planes. Oh, a real thing that he's concerned about, by the way. But the grift doesn't stop there. We have new reporting from the New Yorker's Evan Osnos that there's a new secret exclusive club where you can pay millions of dollars and gain special access to Donald Trump. In the article, it is described as, quote, outer borough mafia shit. Let's dive into this. Quote, when Donald Trump returned to the White House this winter, members of his circle set about creating an establishment that might suit their preferences. The president's oldest son, Don Jr., was among the founders of a members-only society called the Executive Branch, open by invitation to those who can pay initiation fees of as much as $500,000. The executive branch, which has a coat of arms that combines a bald eagle with a monogram of the club's initials, offers a home to those who stand astride the MAGA ledger, the people who both fund Trump's initiatives and profit from them. A number of the co-owners, like Don Jr., known less for their achievements in business than for their proximity to Trump. They include the cryptocurrency entrepreneurs Zach and Alex Witkoff, whose father, Steve, is Trump's Middle East envoy, and Ahmed Malik, a founder of 1789 Capital, a venture capital firm that is named Don Jr. as a partner. In April, Malik was appointed to the board of the government-backed mortgage firm Fannie Mae. I spend a lot of time talking about homelessness, poverty, the poor and working class. You might get that from my background here. And I often think of a quote from one of my heroes, Barbara Ehrenreich, who said, when the sides were drawn up between the powerful and the downtrodden, there had never been any question about where I stood. And I think about the kinds of people we should be putting into positions of power and the people that we have in positions of power. And I just feel rage. I mean, these men go into these exclusive clubs to connect with the powerful, to scheme about additional ways to explode their wealth, power, and influence. And then they're out here slashing USAID, quite literally causing millions of deaths in the process. Slashing Medicaid, SNAP. Did you see in the new budget, they're going to get rid of subsidized student loans and they're putting hurdles on Pell Grants. People who will never have to rely on these programs, eager to strip them from those who do. Do you feel rage too? I certainly hope so. Let's continue with this New Yorker reporting on the launch party for this exclusive club. Quote, the guest list included an extraordinary range of officials from the new administration. Lobbyists from the pharmaceutical and finance industries were pleased to find themselves in close quarters with the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, and the Director of National Intelligence, as well as the chairs of the Federal Trade Commission, the Federal Communications Commission, that's the guy who wears the Donald Trump pin, and the Securities and Exchange Commission. One attendee later described it as an improvement over the scene at the Trump International Hotel, which was popular during the first term. Quote, "That was open," the guest told me. "You could find Rudy Giuliani pretty tipsy on any given night, holding court in the lobby. The new club has higher barriers to entry." Quote, "It's a sign of how Trump has filled his administration with people who can actually afford that," the guest said. "It felt like a White House party, to be honest." Oof. Lobbyists pleased to find themselves in close quarters with the most powerful is a sentence that makes me sick. It's also remarkable that people are rating the level of access they're able to get from one pay-to-play event to the next. Here we didn't have as much direct access, but here we absolutely do, and it was great. The days of, imagine if Joe Biden did this, imagine if Barack Obama, or insert any Democrat here, were doing this, just does not matter anymore because it does not move the needle. There are not political consequences for this self-dealing. And until there are consequences, it will continue. And just one more piece of the article here. Quote, "Even seasoned practitioners of Washington pay to play have been startled by the new rules for buying influence. In December, a seat at a group dinner at Mar-a-Lago could be had for $1 million contribution to MAGA Inc., a super PAC that serves as a war chest for the midterms. More recently, one-to-one conversations with the president have become available for $5 million. Trump has sold influence so briskly that the political machinery cannot keep up. As long as you have the cash, you too can have easy access to those in the halls of power." And this article it's long, but I highly recommend reading it in its entirety. It isn't just about Trump's corruption. In it, the reporter traveled to the Fight the Oligarchy tour and shares his experiences meeting people who are first-time Bernie rally attenders and how those people he met would report how many people they knew that regretted their vote for Donald Trump, who see that Elon Musk, for example, is not concerned about their best interest. And this is the best we can hope for, right? That people start to see this corruption and self-dealing for what it is, especially as they start to feel the direct pain that Trump inflicts on them. This article actually speaks to the importance of a unified movement against those in power. So I hope you have found a community of like-minded people where you can join forces in protest or join in calling and pressuring your elected officials, because we need all the help that we can get. You can count on me to continue to follow the ongoing threat of the billionaires in power and their new executive branch exclusive club. And I would love to have you join me over on my YouTube channel where I talk about these very issues. My name is Brittany Page from the Page Perspective here on YouTube, guest hosting for David. Thank you for being here.
Did you know that countless commercial databases and people search sites are storing your personal information? Anyone from an employer to a former partner can use these platforms to get details about your online presence, your home address, phone number, email, license plate, family members, financial information, even political views. Europe has laws that offer some protection, but in the US, the data is widely accessible. Even the FBI will buy this information from companies to spy on people without a search warrant. Our sponsor, Incogni, provides a solution. It takes just seconds to sign up, and Incogni will send removal requests to all of the major data brokers, legally compelling them to get rid of your data. Incogni keeps you informed throughout the process. You'll get real-time updates, who has complied, which ones are still pending. They'll handle follow-ups, they'll handle appeals on your behalf, and this will save you hundreds of hours. Very few people have the time or resources to do this on their own. This service can also reduce the number of spam calls and emails you get, since many solicitors and scammers get your information from these very same sources. Go to incogni.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman for 60% off. The link is below.